So I've probably got two of the best looking drivers on the market at the moment. I'm going to put them up head to head in a battle against to see which is going to perform the best. And two very different price points as well. So I've got the brand new Mizuno ST-G 220 driver, just recently released. I've just done a review video of that, so you can go and check that out if you want to for a little bit more in depth of that particular driver. And I'm putting it up against the Titleist TSi3 driver. So as I say, two for me, great looking drivers, but let's see how they perform at a very different price point. Okay, so we're going to kick things off. We're going to start off with the Titleist STi3. So as I mentioned, it's a fantastic looking driver. I've actually got this driver in my bag at the moment. Beautiful shape, just sits very nice and square, just a very plain black top. And for me, it does sound really, really good and do perform very nicely. So we're going to start off with this. We've got both exact same shafts. So for anybody out there who's wondering, Hazardous Smoke RDX 6.5 in both of these drivers, and they're both plane length at 45 inches. So that's standard for Mizuno. That's actually ½ inch shorter for Titleist, but they're both playing at the same length. So we've got this test as equal as we can, both 9-degree heads. Let's get underway with the TSi3. And that's a lovely opener. Very distinctive sound with a Titleist. You know, it's that, I always think it's that really good solid. It's probably their best sounding driver I feel they've made. So we're probably not going to see probably my max club head speed. Bearing in mind we're 45 inches in length, so we are a little bit shorter than most standard drivers, 45.5, sometimes 45.75 now. So you can see 111.7 on that club head, that getting out to 296. Ooh, it's a bit of a left one there. Bit of a pull with a bit of shape. So the Titleist have just got this set at A1, so weight neutral in the bottom, so everything's playing at 9 degrees, square face, neutral on the weight. Ooh, and that's bombed. That is a big ball. That felt really good. Very straight on that one. Should get out a bit further, yeah. So good club head speed, got me launched right, quite a nice low spin, getting that carry up 282. Getting out to 340, and that was a good hit. So as I talked about before, it's a very clean look with the Titleist. It's just got literally that TSI logo on the top, and that is it. It's a black gloss finish. There's no carbon in this, so this is where it's a little bit maybe different to the Mizuno. Many other drivers on the market now, we see a lot of carbon involved now on the crowns to save weight, reposition it. Titleist have never really gone down that route, but obviously they've got that ATI face, that sort of aerospace metal, I think they're calling it there. So it's all talking a lot about sort of ball speed for Titleist in this particular driver, but they always, they're not going to go away from that Titleist look, are they? That classic sort of shaping that we tend to see with them. Oh, and that's another one. That's pretty much followed that last one I just hit. That feels really good. Again, when I get that launch right, I do max me carry a little bit more there. So obviously TSi3 against TSi2. TSi2 just longer from that front to back, a little bit more, maybe that a little bit more forgiving. Lose the adjustability, so we've got a tiny bit of weight adjustability in TSi3. It's fixed at the back, but we can move it obviously neutral to toe to heel to make it that little bit more sort of draw fade sort of biased. Obviously through the sure fit neck sleeve with Titleist, we can make the lie angle a little bit more upright, tiny bit flatter, add a little bit of loft, take a little bit of loft away from it, so that can obviously also help with launch and shot direction. It wasn't quite as good a strike, a little bit low heel, a little bit of cut shape on that, but it started far enough left to finish fairly sort of neutral. But again, it's a great sound. I think the sound of this is, I was always, well, straight away when I first tested this, the thing that impressed me the most is the sound of it. Very solid on that feel. Again, good, solid hit. Right, so price point obviously with Titleist, the driver is £499. So obviously it's more of that high end in the driver bracket now really in terms of a price point, but obviously a very, very good product. So there's some shots hit with the Titleist TSi3. Let's move into the new Mizuno. Right, okay, so Mizuno ST-G 220, so brand new launch. Literally, as we're shooting this video, it's just going to be launched this month in October. New offering now from Mizuno, so we've got some adjustability. They've always had a G drive which is adjustable, but now we've got that extra slot in the back of the club. So tons of options here in terms of where that weight is going to go around the head. And probably the advantage maybe over the Titleist is it's got more, obviously, positions you can put the weight. Titleist obviously at the back, left to right, and that's it. This with the ST-G, you can have it at the back, heel, toe, both in the heel and toe, both in the front section, both in the back, you know, one back, one front, you know, the options are endless really with this. So in terms of fitting and trying to get it sort of dialed into Pacific Strike, maybe a little bit of an advantage with the Mizuno over the Titleist with all that adjustability. So again, 9° head, set at 9°, exactly the same shaft, same length. Let's get underway with this Mizuno. That's a good hit. That felt pretty quick off the face, just moving a touch up that right hand side. 113, so not bad club head speed there. Yeah, not a bad opener, just a bit up the right hand side. Straight away there, just felt a little bit different in terms of that sound and the feel off the club face there. I've got the two weights, so two 11-gram weights here, both in that back sort of slot or track in the head. So playing it with a weight back central, same as what I've really got with the Titleist. But obviously there is those options. I can move those weights far forward, which is going to make the club a little bit more aggressive in terms of that. Maybe a slightly lower launch, a little bit lower spin. So again, there's a little bit more of an option there up against the Titleist. That's a good solid hit. Again, that's very similar to that first one, just moving a touch up that right hand side. I'll tell you what, that feels great off the club face. Move that quite quick, 115. I must admit, it does feel a little bit lighter in the head in comparison to the Titleist. That's probably the first thing I just sort of feel a little bit there. Okay, that's a better directional shot there from those first two. Again, good club head speed, 114, so it looks to off the mark a little bit quicker in terms of that club head speed. Say, exact same shaft, same length, everything like that. I was just getting over that 300 marker. So it's just going back to the looks now. So again, for me, I think the Mizuno, as I said this in my review video of it, it's a great looking club, and they made these in the Z and the X previously, obviously the Z-G being the adjustable underneath, but from the top view, it's a great looking club, black gloss finish. We've now got a little bit more busy than maybe against the Titleist there. We've got the black solid front part of the head, and then that just then jumps into that sort of carbon, grey carbon effect. So you can really sort of see where that carbon is, but I think it's a great look, you know, it sits again, very sort of square. We've got that black face there. It looks like a slightly, let's just put these side by side, probably just a slightly bigger footprint against the Titleist there, just that slightly longer from front to back, maybe a little bit slightly longer in the blade length, maybe the face size, maybe it's just the shaping of it. But again, it's a really good look down by that golf ball. Oozes a bit of quality there. That's a really good hit. Again, for me, the sound is a little bit different to the Titleist. Maybe just, what's the right word? Just not quite as dull of a sound. Again, that's a little bit up that right hand side there, but the hit was really good. The spin a little bit lower there, maybe just slightly on that toe strike if we can get really fussy on the connection. Okay, that's good hit there. Again, I really do like the sound of that. As much as I like the sound of the Titleist, to be honest, that's a lovely hit. Okay, just move that club a tiny bit quicker. 275 carry, getting around that sort of 308 mark. So I'd say maybe just that slight advantage with the ST-G. Bear in mind the price point here. So this is coming in at £399 against the £499 of the Titleist. So there is a £100 difference, which is a lot of money, isn't it? Difference there. And maybe the advantage with the Mizuno there with just that extra bit of adjustability. So if you're a golfer who has a really high spin, is trying to get spin down, maybe tougher to do that in the TSi3 because obviously that weight is positioned and fixed in the back. Yes, you can move it side to side, but you can't move it back forward in the club. Having said that, you might then be thinking, okay, well maybe the TSi4 head, obviously the weight forward is more of an option, but that is quite a small head, isn't it? So in terms of the adjustability, maybe the Mizuno just having a slight advantage there with these movable weights. They can put them in the tracks, move it forward and make it a little bit more low spin for anybody who wants to try and get spin down. The only thing we just got to remember when we're pushing those weights far forward in the club, it does make it less forgiving than when they are positioned at the back. So there's always going to be that little bit of a trade-off when you're moving these weights around. Again, lovely hit. Just moving that tiny bit up there. Left hand side, but not by much at all. Okay, right, there's 6 shots hit each with the Titleist and the Mizuno. Let's go and check a few numbers out. Okay, so obviously looking at the dispersion rings, as you've been seeing as we've been going along hitting those clubs there, the white being the Titleist. So obviously I did have that real left one with the Titleist, which has obviously increased that circle. So, you know, if we're going to take one out, take that out. Those other 5 sort of shots were pretty, well, very good, weren't they? Very sort of accurate. maybe with the Mizuno there, I did have 3 up the right hand side and then sort of worked and dialed that in a little bit there. So if again, we're going to take one out, we've still got probably the similar sort of dispersion ring, haven't we? So maybe Titleist just edging it possibly on that front. And then maybe looking at the sort of numbers, so TSi3 on the bottom, so 112.6 is a club head speed on average, 113.6. So definitely got that club moving a little bit quicker there with the Mizuno. Well, it did actually feel like it. It wasn't intentional. It did feel like I could move it a little bit quicker, to be honest. But ball speed, very, very similar. So I haven't actually made that increase on average in terms of that ball speed off the club face in comparison to the Titleist. Both very similar. Launched exactly the same, 11.5. As an average there, but you can see the spin is exactly the same, 1900. Bear in mind, I've got those weights in the back, and I did find that in my review video with the Mizuno was, even with the weights back, it was still fairly low spin. Weights forward was really low spin. So obviously that's something to keep in mind, but as I say, could suit that, maybe that player who maybe he's trying to get that spin down a little bit. That could be a really, really good option. Keeping that forgiveness with the weights at the back, but still in that slightly lower spin area in comparison to other drivers on the market. I think that could obviously tick a few boxes. So carry distance, you see, very, very similar, 270 to 273, running out 306, 304, very, nothing splitting those at all really on that front. Right, okay, so there we go. There's £100 difference between these two drivers. Do remember that. I mean, again, personal preference might just override that for me. And that little test there, both performing very, very similar. My choice here, bear in mind I do have TSi3 in the bag, is I do like that. You know, I think it looks great. It does sound good. I do like the sort of flight I get with the TSi3. Having said that, the Mizuno is also very, very good. I'm quite partial to that, but I think for me personally, I'm always going to go with what's in the bag really at the moment, and that's the TSi3. But again, the price point could really sway you, can it? £100 cheaper with the Mizuno. We've got a little bit of adjustability on top of against the Titleist there with the weight, so there's a little bit of an advantage there as well, isn't there? So post comments down below, let me know your thoughts. What would you go for, Mizuno or Titleist? Is it a price issue there that would sway you towards Mizuno, or is it purely because you've got that extra adjustability and you like the look of the Mizuno product? I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button. There'll be another video popping up there for you to go and watch and hopefully enjoy, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.